Hello, good evening and welcome to Prime Business. Coming up, Ministry of Finance appeals to investors to embrace debt restructuring program since it is needed requirement that must be met ahead of time to secure an IMF program. We'll hear from Deputy Finance Minister Beverly Broohm.
We will move to the next stage of the IMF negotiation. And we need that to help our businesses also thrive because they will need that forex. They will need that stability in this country.
And Director of the Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research, Professor Peter Korte, calls for more engagement on debt restructuring program to bring all stakeholders on board to avert capital flight.
The onus lies on government to initiate that national consensus. It has to deepen its consultation with key stakeholders, parliamentarians, investors, fund managers, all the people that matter.
And we'll be in the Ashanti region where waste collectors in Kumasi will soon access 15,000 euros to expand operations.
We are rather going to make money from waste management. And the bit that normally enthuses me is the employment that is going to create. Employment in the sense that it's going to help the waste pickers to set up themselves. That is going to provide them with 3,000 euros each.
I am Beverly Broohm. Please stay for details. Hello and welcome. Ghana can only proceed to the next stage of the negotiations with the International Monetary Fund after the completion of debt exchange program. This according to a Deputy Finance Minister, Beverly. She's hopeful a successful execution of debt exchange initiative will be key in securing the program. Mrs. Asari spoke at the post-budget forum organized by auditing and accounting firm Deloitte Ghana.
The Finance Minister, Beverly Broohm, said the debt exchange program is key to salvage Ghana's economy. She called on investors to support the initiative and to ensure macroeconomic stability.
We are in a very tight situation. The economy is in crisis. And whatever we have to do to salvage the economy and stabilize the economy is what we are doing. It is a very, bitter process. We can feel it. But at the moment, we are asking all and sundry to support government to achieve this or to make this possible. Because if we are able to cross this and encourage this voluntary participation, we will move to the next stage of the IMF negotiation. And we need that to help our businesses also thrive because they will need that forex. They will need that stability in this country. And we will need that support from everybody to make this happen. This is our country. We are at a crossroads and we are asking citizens to support governments, get to the next stage in the IMF negotiations that will help stabilize the economy and then get us back on track. And with the support of the PCPEG program that government has outlined, we believe within the medium term, Ghana can rise again. So this is the nature of the debt exchange that we have. And like I said, it is voluntary, but we are encouraging everybody to participate.
On his part, Chief Executive Officer for the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Mark Bedu Abuaje, entreated government to be more aggressive in its industrialization agenda.
I think we should also look at our tax system when it comes to production, to move from a pre-production taxation to a post-production taxation. If you are bringing a raw materials and other items and machines, you end up paying a huge duties on this product. There's a process where if you produce and you export, you are able to get a duty drawback. The duty drawback will stay there for 20 years and you not get it. So all these things feed into the cost of production, making our production costs very high and businesses uncompetitive when it comes to this production. Now we are operating in a certain environment that whatever decision we take should not be just for Ghana, but for the ASCFTA, for the African continent-wide decision.
Under Ghana's domestic debt exchange program, domestic bondholders will be asked to exchange their instruments for new ones. Existing domestic bonds as of December 1, 2022 will be exchanged for a set of 4 new bonds maturing in 2027, 2029, 2032 and 2037. James Shen's report for Joy Business.
Now, the director of the Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research, Professor Peter Korte, is calling for a broader stakeholder engagement on the newly launched domestic debt exchange program in order to restore stability in the financial landscape. According to him, if government fails to engage more, there are going to be capital flights in its own securities. He spoke exclusively to Joy Business on the sidelines of the 2023 post-budget statement review.
Speaking at the 2023 Post-Budget Forum, Director of the Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research, Professor Peter Korte, said a national consensus is key to the sustainability of the newly launched domestic debt exchange program. He warns if broader engagement is not held, there are going to be more capital flights.
The onus lies on government to initiate that national consensus. It has to deepen its consultation with key stakeholders, parliamentarians, investors, fund managers, all the people that matter. Then apart from that, of even civil society, as well as the citizenry, government ought to communicate clearly what the program is, this debt exchange program, the IMF program, what it entails, what are the strengths, what are the weaknesses, what are the possible pains that we have to absorb for now. You know, all of this has to be communicated, and I believe it requires all of us to also be receptive to some of this information. Of course, without it, then we cannot sign on to the IMF program, and that may be problematic for us. We have come far, and I think it's a bitter pill, but we ought to take it.
He adds that it will take a while to regain confidence at the level of 2019, even within and after an IMF program.
It will take a long time for them to regain confidence. If we should go through this and float shares, bonds on the international markets, I think for us to be back to pre-2019, it will take us quite some time to be back there. So we are not in normal times. But I also have to quickly add that it's inevitable. This is what we are faced with, and we have to embrace it carefully.
On the bit about the 2023 budget, Professor Korte called on the government to review its flagship programs and realign expenditure.
But we add that there is a need to review the flagship programs and realign expenditures. Because if you look at the expenditure for 2023, education is taking 18 billion, about 18 billion. Then agric is taking 2.15 billion. Trade and industry, 0.587 billion. Why the huge disparity in spending? Why are we putting so much in education and not also putting so much in the critical or the productive sectors of the economy? Agric is key. It was because of agric that during COVID we didn't experience hyperinflation. So we ought to also put some money into agric rather than spending everything on education.
Meanwhile, the institute believes the 2023 budget will restore macro stability under an IMF program.
Meanwhile, Associate Professor of Finance at Andrews University in the USA, Professor Williams Pipra, says it is in the interest of everyone for investors to take a loss and accept government's conditions. According to him, this would help the economy recover.
According to Bloomberg, bonds that will be due in December 31, 2022 and June 2023 for local bonds. If government is supposed to go ahead and pay, government will need 43 billion Ghana cedis. In June 2023, Euro bonds that will be due, that is on coupon payment, is $663 million. Where we find ourselves as a country, the government is not in a position to pay. Simply put, government has reached the solvency point. The only mitigation for government to restructure or reprofile the bond arrangement to meet IMF requirements is this kind of arrangement. Government is facing, I'm not speaking for government, but I'm just being academic and speaking to a fact.
Right.
Government is facing what we term as sovereign risks. Anybody who purchases a bond from a government, you are one of the things that will be stated on the prospectus, that is on the risks element, is sovereign risks. Sovereign risks means that government may decide to default and not make the payment. So it is in the interest of everybody to take a loss. A loss in a reduction in interest payments so that you'll be able to even get back your principal. That is care. So the Chamber of Trustees going on that line, it will not really support and it not benefit the people they are holding trust for.
Away from that, the Bank of Ghana has concluded arrangements to receive over 100,000 ounces of gold to be purchased from the local mining industry. This is part of measures by the central bank to strengthen the bank's reserves. According to the governor, Dr. Ernest Addison, the industry has already sold over 75,000 ounces to the central bank since June last year and made progress for more by the close of the year.
The overall objective of that program is to shore up the bank's reserves with monetary gold. The domestic gold program seeks to provide an avenue to organically increase our reserves gold without distorting incentives of the local gold producers. Over the long term, this has the potential of enhancing currency stability and confidence in the economy. Moreover, increasing the country's gold holdings will ensure preservation of capital of our reserve portfolio. The ability to leverage the gold holdings to raise funds at competitive terms for short-term liquidity management is also an added advantage. Since the inception of the program in June 2021, the bank has gradually purchased 75,268.70 ounces of gold, with arrangements in place to receive over 100,278.67 ounces from mining firms between now and the end of the year.
Now, the Soya Value Chain Association of Ghana is calling on government to appoint new leaders for the Ghana Commodities Exchange, Buffer Stock Company, and the incoming Commodities Export Control Authority. According to the association, leaders at these institutions do not have the requisite skills to regulate the affairs of the soya value chain. Speaking at a press conference organized by the Soya Value Chain Association, Vice Chairman Daniel Ahinkra indicated that stakeholders along the value chain are usually overlooked in decision making.
We, the actors in the Soya Value Chain Association of Ghana and the underlisted stakeholders, wish to present our position on the temporary ban on the exportation of soya beans and other matters as stated below. We sincerely appreciate government's move to regulate the export of this commodity, but based on concerns widely raised by our members who are the main actors, we think further engagement is needed between government and the actors to reach an amicable agreement. In addition, we would have liked that at every stage of a negotiation leading to the final decision of this temporary ban, members of Soya Value Chain Association of Ghana should have been consulted as a body, but unfortunately, this did not happen. Now, we wish to state our humble position as follows. 1. Government should increase effort to develop a national strategy to make soya bean a cash crop. So, number 2, replicate and expand the SAPIC project to increase soya production in Ghana. 3, revise the leadership of public institutions like Ghana Commodity Exchange, the Buffer Stock Company, and the incoming Commodities Export Control Authority to give value chain actors control to lead these commodities for effective operations on the ground.
Let's go to the Ashanti region now, where some waste collectors in Kumasi are set to benefit from a €15,000 support to expand their operations. Other collectors will be employed by the selected waste collectors to better their living standards. The support is to give priority to an integrated management system of solid urban waste to boost the circular economy in Kumasi. Here's a report.
The Holistic Reinforcement for Sustainable Development Forest Project involves 3 local administrations: Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly, the KMA, Spain's Mancomunidad de la Ribera Alta, MANRA, and the Chamber of Praia, Cape Verde. Local Projects Coordinator Jeffrey Tetenoti says 5 persons will be selected from a 20-member group. These individuals will be taken through a special orientation course in waste collection. He was speaking at a public forum of the Forest Project under the theme Localization of Sustainable Development Goals, Fostering Community Ownership and Engendering Local Leadership in the Achievement of Sustainable Development Goals Indicators.
We are rather going to make money from waste management. And the bit that normally enthuses me is the employment that is going to create. Employment in the sense that it's going to help the waste pickers to set up themselves. That is going to provide them with €3,000 each out of the 5 that we selected from the 20 who will be trained. And they are not going to be just sole proprietorship enjoying the money, but we will look up to them to scale up so that other waste pickers can be employed by them. By so doing, the project benefits reach far and wide.
Chief Executive of the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly, Samuel Pine, urged support for the project to boost the circular economy of the metropolis, and he is hopeful Kumasi would reclaim its past glory owing to the steady progress the Assembly is making towards the project's implementation.
Forest has set itself to achieve several deliverables, which include promoting community participation, reduce, reuse, recycle, and recover.
President of MANRA, Spain, Zima Palazon, shares his readiness in the transfer of technical know-how for the success of the project.
The consummation It's also an opportunity to create jobs, green jobs in a circular economy. We hope that this project will change the future of the Kumasi metropolitan area. I saw a lot of people very interested in participate in this project. This is very important because it's not a project that can run only public administration. We need the commitment of the citizens.
The 30-month project would raise awareness throughout the general population and strengthen the local authorities of Kumasi for the implementation of the National Plan for Integrated Management of Municipal Solid Waste. Mona Lisa Frimpon reporting.
Trade volumes between Ghana and Italy is expected to exceed €600 by end of the year. That's according to the Italian ambassador to Ghana. Now, according to her, in spite of the impact of COVID-19 pandemic, the total trade volumes recorded as at August 2022 was €500 million, following strong ties between both countries. She spoke at the Italian National Pavilion organized by the Italian Trade Agency here in Accra.
Ghana has had strong bilateral relations with Italy for many years, especially within the agribusiness space. As a result, trade between both countries is expected to exceed €600 by end of the year. According to the Italian ambassador Daniela Dolandi, she is optimistic the trade volumes will increase even further in the year 2023 as some Italian businesses have shown interest in investing in the Ghanaian economy.
There are so many more opportunities in the private sectors between Ghanaian and Italian companies, and the embassy together with the Italian Trade Agency is promoting such opportunities. The volume of bilateral trade in 2021 was over €520 million, notwithstanding the pandemic. And it's still increasing because only in August 2022 it already reached €600 million. So we hope for more and more opportunities for Ghana and for Italy.
The Italian Trade Agency set up a dedicated Italian pavilion to host all 20 Italian companies at the 7th Agro-Food and Plast Print Park West Africa exhibition. Majority of the companies are into the production of equipment for plastics, printing and packaging, as well as in the agro-processing industry. Speaking at the official opening of the fair, Director of Italian Trade Agency for West Africa, Dr. Alessandro Galbino, said Ghanaian manufacturing sector requires new technologies and the Italian companies are in the country to provide them.
The participation of 20 companies from Italy is also a sign of the commitment of Italy to be near our partners and customers in Ghana to study how to work together. Ghana is striving for quality, and if you like to have quality, you need to go where quality is. So I think Italy is certainly eligible in this regard, and with tonight I hope that it will add a new opportunity to connect among each other.
Also present at the fair were the two Deputy Ministers of Trade and Industry, Nana Amadokwa Isiama Eje and Herbert Krapa, as well as many other businessmen and women.
And that's all for business tonight. We have more business on myjoyonline.com/business. My name is Beverly Broohm, and I leave you with news making headlines on the international front.